Good day and welcome to the Sage One Advisor pre-assessment brief. I would like to thank you for taking time out to view this session. The pre-assessment brief is made up of 2 sessions. I'm going to be covering session 1 today. The topics that will be discussed are financial years and lockdown dates, aging and allocations, journal entries and adjustments, banking, and finally opening balances. Let's get started with financial years. I'm going to begin by logging into my Sage One accounting company. Under the company settings option, select the general settings and thereafter financial years. Sage One by default will create your financial years being 1st of March of the current year to end of February of the next year. A prior year will also be created for taking on opening balances. There are no limits as to how many financial years can be stored, and financial years are never deleted. Sage One is date driven and therefore allows for financial years to be edited in the event of incorrectly being set up. Simply select the calendar, choose the correct date, and remember to allow your financial years to flow through correctly and sequentially. You may need to zoom in to every year to ensure that they are set up correctly. The checkbox alongside the financial year illustrates the current financial year for reporting purposes only. You are able to view prior year's reports by simply changing the checkbox, saving your changes, and viewing your reports under the Reports menu. Lockdown dates allows you to be able to stop transacting on or prior a certain date. You would set up a lockdown date by simply selecting the checkbox, zooming in to the date on which you wish to stop transactions, and once you've saved your changes, this will stop any user from processing on or prior the date that you have saved. Remember, lockdown dates can be used for month-end closures. Simply return to the window, unlock your date, and relock it against the new date that you wish to use. If you've made any changes, please remember to save your changes. The next topic I will be covering is with regards to outstanding balances. Select the outstanding balances within the general settings under the company settings option. Remember, outstanding balances allows you to be able to set up aging for your customer and supplier. Aging refers to the number of days that a customer or supplier balance is outstanding. Customers and supplier aging can work monthly based or based on the number of days from the date of invoice. If you wish to operate your company using monthly terms, simply leave the following checkbox checked. Alternatively, if you wish to have your invoicing based on the number of days from the date of invoice, deselect the following checkbox. You are given 2 choices by default, either to run your aging based on invoice date, which would allow for aging to run from the date of invoice, alternatively due date. Remember, different types of aging can be set up per customer or per supplier master file. You are allowed to set up a due date on your invoicing screen if you wish to allow a particular invoice to be aged differently. Once again, please remember to save your changes if you've made any changes within the company settings in order for them to take place. The company settings is available at the top of your screen. Alternatively, under Company, change Company Settings. The details that you may have added or if you wish to edit any information, you can do so at any time. Just remember to save your changes. I'm now going to be moving on to open item and balance forward, as we're familiar with the terminology in accounting. Under your customer menu, add a customer. Alternatively, if I were to be setting up a supplier account, under the supplier menu, add a supplier. We have changed the terminology with regards to open item and balance forward. If you require to have any customer operating the open item structure, simply deselect the checkbox that states auto allocate receipts to oldest invoice. If you wish to operate the customer balance forward, leave the following checkbox checked. By default, when creating a new master file, either a customer or supplier master file, the auto allocate option is always checked by default. In the customer or supplier master file, you can set up different due dates of payments. We have given you a few options for you to select. Once again, please remember to save your changes. The next topic I will be going through is with regards to journal entries and adjustments. Our journal entry screen is available under the Accountants area menu, Process Journal Entries. In the Process Journal Entry screen, you will first select the effect being debit or credit against the general ledger account that you wish to have the effect fall upon. We then have a buy affecting account that is to the right of your debit or credit. Your buy affecting account would be the contra to this transaction. So if, for example, I had created a transaction in error, instead of debiting telephone initially, I had debited water and electricity. In order for me to correct the transaction, I would need to debit telephone, as I had paid the telephone account and incorrectly captured it. My buy affecting account would be electricity, as I had incorrectly captured the transaction to electricity. I can add a reference, description as to whether this transaction requires VAT or not, and my amount. You can add attachments with regards to journal entries and adjustments. You do have the option to import journal entries, and you are even allowed to show previously created journal entries by simply selecting the checkbox and zooming into a prior date. There are no limits as to how far back you can zoom in. Simply select the date, refresh, and the transactions will then be populated accordingly. Sage 1 does allow for journal entries to be edited or deleted. The only time transactions will not be allowed to be edited or deleted are in the event if these transactions fall within a lockdown date or a closed VAT period. If transactions fall within a closed VAT period or a lockdown date, the transaction would be grayed out and a little lock will appear to the left of the transaction. If transactions are within an open period, you can easily change the transactions accordingly. Always remember to select the process option in order for your changes to be saved. When zooming in to view previously created journal entries, after selection of a date and refreshing, you'll notice that you are able to export data from Sage 1 into Excel by simply refreshing a prior selection and choosing the Export Data option. If you wish to view a journal entries report, simply select the Accountants area menu, Reports, Transaction Reports, and we have the Journal Entries Report. ensure that you correctly fill the filters, and Sage 1 does allow for custom dates against your reports. You can choose a start and end date that you wish to view the report from and until, and select the View Report option. You'll notice that the Journal Entries report does allow you to view based on different accounts or transaction types. All our reports in Sage 1 can be emailed or printed directly from your screen. We even allow for you to export these reports in either PDF, CSV, or save them directly from screen. With regards to customer and supplier adjustments, under the customer menu, transactions, we have customer write-offs and customer adjustments. Your customer write-offs allows you to be able to capture a bad debt. Simply select the Add Write-Off option, choose the customer that you wish to capture the bad debt against, select the amount, and choose the invoice if you are operating the open item structure. Once you select the Process option, Sage 1 will automatically decrease the customer account, and the contra to this would be a system account, being the bad debts account. Under your customer menu, transactions, customer adjustments, you have the choice to add a customer adjustment, and this would enable just one debit and one credit. So if, for example, I needed to adjust just a single customer's account, I would simply select the customer. The effective increase would fall against the customer, and my by affecting account would be my contra account. So perhaps I was charging the customer interest. I would simply select interest received. This transaction would increase Mr. D. Bolding's account, and the by affecting account would be interest received. Add your amount that you wish to charge interest with, and once you select the Process option, the transaction would then have been created. In the event you need to add lots of different transactions, you could select the Quick Entry Grid. When selecting the Quick Entry Grid, you are allowed to add multiple transactions. Custom adjustments in the Quick Entry Grid screen does allow you to import transactions. If I'm increasing a particular customer account, my by affecting account would be a general ledger account. Once again, I am allowed to add a reference description as to where the VAT is applicable and my amount. You can easily show previously created adjustments by zooming into a prior date, and once you refresh the screen, the transactions will then populate. The Export Data option will only appear once you've refreshed off a prior date, and Sage 1 does allow you to edit or delete previously created journal entries and adjustment, as long as they are not within a closed VAT period or a lockdown date. We locate the Supplier Adjustment screen under Suppliers, Transactions, Supplier Adjustments. If the following window appears, remember that leaving this page, you would leave without saving. Staying on this page, you would need to first save your changes and then move on. In your Supplier Adjustments screen, you have the option to add a single supplier adjustment, or once again the Quick Entry Grid to add multiple supplier adjustments. You can show previously created adjustments by checking the box and zooming into the correct date. Select refresh and you will then have the export data option. Sage 1 does allow for supplier adjustments to be imported, and once again we have an increase or decrease effect that will fall upon the supplier account, and we have the buy affecting account that would be the contra account for that particular transaction. Once again, remember to process your changes, and transactions can only be edited or deleted if they are within an open period. Moving to item adjustments, under your items menu, transactions, we have item adjustments. I can either adjust just one inventory item. Alternatively, I have the choice to adjust many different inventory items by simply selecting the quantity on hand and your average cost using the quick entry grid. Once I've selected next, in the following window, a reason is mandatory. It could perhaps be stock take as of January 2006. Select the import option if you wish to import transactions. You even have the choice to load all your transactions by simply selecting load all, and all your inventory items will then feed through. You can choose the items that you wish to adjust, either based on quantity on hand and or average cost. You can select the item code that you wish to adjust individually. By selecting it, choosing as to whether you would like to adjust the average cost or the quantity on hand. Once again, don't forget to save your changes. Now remember, with regards to handling the results of a physical stock count, there are many different options to take stock out of your Sage 1 company. You can either process an item adjustment quick entry grid. Alternatively, if you're going to be returning stock to your supplier, under your supplier menu, transactions, you would process a supplier return. Alternatively, if stock had increased, perhaps a customer had returned stock to you. You would then need to process that option under the customer transactions customer credit note option. So there are several different ways that your stock can be affected and the process that can be run in accordance. The item adjustment is just one of the ways that you could adjust your inventory item based on average cost, alternatively quantity on hand. If you wish to view some reports with regards to your items, under the items menu, reports, alternatively under the reports menu, items, we have lots of different reports for you to choose from. A report that allows for you to report on gross profit reporting is a sales by item report. Once again, ensure that your filters are correct in order for you to have the correct report displayed. When viewing your reports, you would then have your quantity on hand, your cost price, selling price, gross profit amount, and gross profit percentage. Remember, our reports do allow for drill downs, and for example, if I were to click on this particular area of the report, I will then be taken to the invoice that processed this transaction. Let's now move on to banking. Under the banking menu, add a bank or credit card. This is where you would add your different cash books. Sage 1 has no limits as to how many cash books you wish to add. And once you've added a cash book in the following window, there is no need for you to have to link it to a general ledger account. Sage 1 automatically does it for you. Create your bank account using a unique name. Add the details if you wish to categorize it the default method being either cash, check, credit card or EFT, the bank name being Standard Bank, Nedbank, FNB, etc., your account number for your identification. Remember, Sage 1 has no access into anyone's bank accounts. The account number is for your identification. Scrolling down, select the Save option. You'll notice that your bank account name must be unique in order for you to create other bank accounts. So if you have more than one current account and if you would like to add them separately, simply call them current account 1, 2, etc. Under the banking menu, we have your list of bank and credit cards. We then have your bank and credit card categories if you wish to categorize your cash books. Thereafter, we have the quick entry rules. Quick entry rules have been formulated in order for you to create shortcut keys for manual cash book entry. I've created a few rules. For example, if I type uppercase E, my description will read electricity automatically. I have the choice of either general ledger account, customer, supplier, VAT or transfer, and my type does affect my selection. So for example, if I chose general ledger accounts in the following column, in the next column I would then have all my general ledger accounts viewed. Select as to whether this particular transaction carries VAT or not. You can create as many quick entry rules as you wish to. Quick entry rules can be deleted or edited at any time. There are also no limit as to how many quick entry rules can be added. Once you've saved your changes, under the banking menu, transactions, banking, select the bank or credit card that you wish to transact to from the drop-down box. Thereafter, simply select the quick entry rule that you've created. In my example, I've used uppercase E, and using my tab key, you'll notice that the moment I select my tab key, the description, type, and selection, that as well will automatically reflect according to the quick entry rule. I simply need to add a reference if I wish to, and the money spent or money received in the event it was an income. Save my changes, and the transaction would then have been processed. If I'm satisfied with the transaction, select it and choose Mark as Reviewed. The transaction will then be shifted to the Reviewed transaction screen. Remember, in the Reviewed transaction screen, transactions can be edited or deleted as long as you are within an open period. Remember to save your changes. Moving to the banking menu, lists, we have bank statement mapping rules. Your bank statement mapping rules are rules that you would create from an imported bank statement. I'm going to delete the rule that I have currently simply because I would like to assume that it is the first time that we are ever importing a bank statement. Remember, Sage 1 does allow you to check for duplicates based on either date and amount or date, description and amount. You can even check for duplicates based on new and reviewed transaction screens, alternatively just the reviewed transaction screen. So this would be the setup to check for duplicates in Sage 1 accounting. This is the first time that we are importing our bank statement into Sage 1. You would need to ensure that your bank statement has been downloaded from your internet banking in a CSV or OFX file format. If you require assistance with that regard, kindly contact our support. Once you have your file in the correct format stored onto your computer, select the banking menu, transactions, and banking. So immaterial if whether I'm processing a manual entry or an imported bank statement, I will always return to the following screen. Zoom into the cash book that you wish to transact into and select the Import Bank Statement option. You would need to ensure that the file is in an OFX or CSV file format. I'm going to be using a standard bank CSV file and therefore the particular type has been chosen. I zoom into the file that has been saved on my computer and choose to import the file. The following information note will appear, stating that I have 16 rows that successfully imported and 16 of the imported transactions that are unallocated. This has been a successful import. By default, my bank balance will automatically adjust according to the transactions that have been imported, simply because Sage 1 will report those transactions against an unallocated expense or unallocated income account that are suspense system accounts. Save your changes and you can return at any time to sort or map these transactions. By mapping, I mean adding the transactions to the correct accounts accordingly. Looking at the following bank statements, I have a transaction reading credit card EFT point of sale. I have 1, 2, 3 transactions with the exact same description on my bank statement. In my business, the following transaction is populated every time the speed point banks. I'm going to select any one of those transactions. From the drop-down box, I'm going to be selecting customer as I've added a cash sale customer for all cash sales that goes through the speed point. There is no VAT on this particular transaction simply because VAT has been taken into consideration on invoice. I'm then going to choose the first option, create rule. I can either add my own display description. Alternatively, if I wish to keep the description from the bank statement, simply copy and paste that across. Once I've saved my changes, I would then have created a rule. All the transactions with the exact same description will automatically be mapped accordingly, and the green illustrates that I have a rule in place. I can edit this rule or delete it at any time. And if in future the exact same description appears on my bank statement, Sage 1 will automatically map it for me. In the event I have transactions with different descriptions, so for example, the following 540 Rand and 3,230 Rand were both supplier payments. I had paid Mr. B. Duprier, who is a supplier to me. The one transaction I had withdrew cash and paid him in cash, and the other was an internet payment. I can easily select the transactions and choose the batch edit option. When selecting the batch edit option, I am allowed to map lots of different transactions with different descriptions. The transactions don't necessarily have to be sequential. They can be anywhere on your bank statement. And as I move on, by simply mapping just one transaction, all of the transactions that are within the batch will be mapped accordingly. Once you are satisfied, select the Finish Edit option and the transactions will be mapped accordingly. If you are satisfied and at that point wish to reduce your screen space with the amount of transactions that lay against it, simply select the transactions that have already been sorted and mark them as reviewed. Once you've selected the marked as reviewed option, the transactions will then shift to the reviewed transaction screen. Once again, if you wish to exit the screen, simply save your changes. You can always return later or perhaps in a day or two. With regards to transactions that you report separately, so for example, in my company, I report telephone separately and I report internet separately. The following amount for 23,000 needs to be split against telephone and internet. Both of those are general ledger accounts. I would choose either telephone or internet. Yes, there is VAT on this particular transaction, and I will choose the split transaction option. 13,000 of the 23,000 needs to be reported to telephone. Thereafter, I have a remainder of 10,000. I would simply select the other account that I wish to add the 10,000 to, in my example being internet, and Sage 1 will only allow you to save the split in the event you have a zero remainder. The following split can be transacted against a customer and general ledger account in the event it's an income. Alternatively, it can be split against a supplier and general ledger account if it's a payment. There are no limits as to how many different accounts can be used for the split. And once you've saved your changes, in the event you need to review or perhaps you've incorrectly split, from the drop-down arrow you can change the split. If you wish to allocate a transaction directly to a customer or supplier account, so if for example the following transaction was a customer receipt, it was from Mr. Ackerman, the 11,937 can be allocated by selecting the allocate option, and I can then take them to specific invoices by simply selecting it. If there's a discount applicable, I can even add the discount amount in the following window. And once I've allocated the transactions, save your changes, and the allocation would then have been done from your cash book. In the event you've added an attachment, the paperclip will change color in order for you to view that there is an attachment added to that particular transaction. Always remember that the following transactions, after marked as reviewed, will always be in your reviewed transaction screen. You can zoom into a prior date. You are even allowed to export your transactions from Sage 1. In your new transaction screen, all the column headers in Sage 1 Accounting does allow to be sorted accordingly. So for example, in your cash book, this becomes a very useful tool, as you can capture all the transactions with the same descriptions much easier in comparison to trying to find them on different places on your bank statement. Under your banking menu, transactions, we have the Reconcile Bank and Credit Card option that allows for the reconciliation process. Please remember that all transactions coming from an imported bank statement will automatically reflect as reconciled transactions. If you wish to view reconciled transactions, simply select the checkbox. A report I find incredibly helpful with regards to banking. Under your banking menu, reports, we have the bank and credit card transaction report. The bank and credit card transaction report allows for you to view any transaction that was processed in all your cash books, alternatively a particular cash book. The bank and credit card report even allows for drill downs. So if, for example, the following transaction was not meant for electricity, I can simply select the transaction and I'd then be taken to my cash book that I can correctly create the transaction. So perhaps it was an electricity payment. I can just choose the correct GL account, save my changes, and Sage 1 will automatically create the correct entries. Our final topic for today is with regards to opening balances. Under the company menu, opening balances, you have the choice to be able to add or edit opening balances. Please ensure that you change the date to the correct date that you would be taking on opening balances for. Remember, Sage 1 is date driven and your date is extremely important. Simply add accounts, edit or delete accounts in the following window and capture your debits and credits accordingly. Scrolling down your screen, you are even allowed to be able to offset trade payables and trade receivables amounts to particular customer or supplier accounts by simply selecting the Add Customer Account, adding customer master files. So for example, I have a total of 24,945. I can then easily select which customers it is that make up that particular amount. The red thumbs down will change to a thumbs up green sign to ensure that I am in balance. And once I've saved my changes, those amounts will then reflect accordingly. Moving back to your company menu opening balances screen, in the following screen, I may have added all my totals, but unfortunately, I am now out for some odd reason. Sage 1 will allow you to update your opening balances despite the fact you are not in balance. The reason for this is simply because you can return to the following screen at any time and change the balances in order to ensure that they are correct. So perhaps my rent income was not 200,000. I can easily adjust it accordingly. If you are in balance, the red thumbs down sign will change to a green thumbs up sign and your balances will be correct. Don't forget to select the update option in order for the correct balances to be in place. If you wish to adjust just a single account, you can do so under your customer menu, special, adjust opening balance in the event it's a customer account. Under supplier, special, adjust opening balance, it may be a supplier account. Under inventory items, special, adjust item opening balance. Even under banking, special, we have adjust bank and credit card opening balances. If it's a general ledger account that you wish to adjust, under your accounts menu, adjust account opening balances, and you can easily select the particular account. A reason is mandatory in all the opening balances screen. Add the correct balance and save your changes. If you wish to have further information with regards to importing master files and opening balances, under the company menu, opening balances, we do have a direct link to assist you with further information. We've got several reports under the reports menu that can assist you with your general ledger accounts. So under your reports menu, accounts reports, we have the account transaction report. Your account transaction report allows you to be able to view transactions per general ledger account or per financial category, alternatively per transaction type. Once again, remember to choose the correct date, and when viewing the report, the following report will display any transaction processed to any general ledger account, alternatively, depending on your filters, exactly the general ledger account you had chosen. Once again, our reports can be exported in PDF, to Excel, printed or emailed directly. And if you wish to show report options, simply change them within your screen, select the refresh option. There's no need for you to exit to the reports menu and return. Under the reports menu, we have the other reports that offers you the audit trail and the system audit trail. The audit trail allows you to be able to view all transactions processed. And when checking the checkbox display user, even the users that had processed those particular transactions would reflect with a date and a time. Under your reports menu, other reports, we have the system audit trail. Once again, when the checkbox display user has been selected, the system audit trail would allow to view any system changes. So for example, the changing of a logo or user permissions, adding or removing of users. The system audit trail as well as the audit trail are extremely useful reports. This would make it essential for different users to be added with their own user credentials in order for these reports to be beneficial. Under the company menu, we have company notes and attachments. These notes and attachments can be a quick and easy point for both yourself and your client to store documents. These could easily be statutory documents, alternatively even notes. Any attachments added throughout your Sage 1 company will reflect in the following screen. So the following option allows you for the point to view all attachments added within your Sage 1 company. If you wish to convert data directly from My Business Desktop, we do have a direct conversion. If you wish to view or change profile information, simply select the My Profile option at the top of your screen, and under the My Details tab, it will then allow you to change email addresses or passwords accordingly. We have reached the end of this session. I thank you for joining me. Wish you all the best with your Sage 1 Advisor assessment, and I look forward to you becoming a Sage 1 Certified Advisor.